This is music, and this is another stack of songs from the Pukebox. Welcome to another episode of Songs from the Pukebox, the worst titled What's Spinning series ever. I haven't made one of these episodes in a while, so allow me to explain everything. It's just a What's Spinning series. The title is a portmanteau of a jukebox and puke. I think the jukebox part is probably pretty clear. It has to do with music that I have been spinning, music that I have been listening to. The puke part might not be that clear. It's not an evaluation of the music or anything like that. It's a reference to the fact that a lot of songs, albums, even band names within the world of, in particular, extreme metal, have to do with vomiting or regurgitation or throwing up. You got witch vomit, you got regurgitation of giblets, you have goat vomit, all sorts of pukey titles. So it's really just a love letter to that weird part of the extreme metal universe. So it's just a What's Spinning series with a really bad title. So I'm not going to document everything that I've listened to, but I'm going to highlight just some of the things I've listened to and talk about them. So I have a good stack of CDs and some vinyl as well. Let's start with the CDs. I basically just brought all of these to my office at work and I listened to them throughout the week. The first one, I think I've shown this one before, Action. This is very, very melodic hard rock, very catchy, lots of ballads too, but very catchy, very melodic, choruses and all that good stuff. It's a Frontiers release, so it's pretty typical Frontier stuff. So that's nice. If you like some melodic hard rock, check out Action. Up next, kind of similar, I would say, Affair, No Substitute. Lots of melodic hard rock elements here too, but these guys have a heavier edge. Some of the songs are more like heavy metal songs. Others are more like hard rock songs. Pretty good stuff, again, if you're in a hard rock mood. Got some more hard rock, but this is a bit more 90s sounding. Alfonsetti Machine. This is, I believe it's Matt Alfonsetti. It sounds a lot like him, who was the vocalist of Jagged Edge. So again, hard rock. This has more of a 90s leaning sound to it. So it has that kind of 90s, slightly more groovy, a bit darker, post-grungy maybe even feel to it. Pretty good stuff. Matt Alfonsetti sounds really good on this album. So again, if you're in a hard rocking mood, check this one out. More, I would say, hard rock. Alice Cooper, Trash. This is a very good album. It has lots of really catchy songs on it. Poison was a hit. House of Fire was a hit. Spark in the Dark, I think, was a hit too. Bed of Nails. Lots of hit songs on here. And I would say Poison is a great song. It's a great, I would say, kind of heavy metal song. A lot of the other stuff on here is more like somewhere between hard rock and heavy metal. Very good stuff. I will say this, the strength of most of the songs on here, that's the choruses. And a lot of the choruses actually sound like they could be Bon Jovi songs. Just check it out and listen. It's I think it's quite striking, but still it's a very good album, very catchy songs, very, very catchy, memorable choruses. The weak part, which I think is a very, very weak part in all honesty, is Only My Heart Talking. To me, that's a terrible, awful ballad. Might work better with Bon Jovi, actually. I don't know. But overall, very, very good, catchy album. It's not a coincidence that it had all those hits on it. I decided to also listen to this one, Hey Stupid. They're almost like, I would say, sister albums. This one has fewer memorable songs on, but I think it has more like good songs, if you know what I mean. Not that the other one doesn't have good songs. I've already established that, but this one seems to have more good songs, I think. There's Feed My Frankenstein, which is a classic. Hey Stupid is another great one. Little by Little. So you got some pretty good songs on here too. So yeah, very good stuff. I mean, this kind of marked, I think, a kind of a comeback for Alice Cooper. There's hard rock. There's a lot of, I would say, kind of a glam metal feel to it too. Of course, with an Alice Cooper twist. So you got some disturbing lyrics and all that stuff. A lot of the lyrics are also pretty stupid, I have to say. But musically, it's pretty enjoyable. I don't remember if I've shown this one before. The Big Thrill by Axis. Heavy metal with some hard rock leanings, but this is more in the heavy metal camp. This is from 93, so it's quite unusual for its era. Like traditional heavy metal in the early 90s, everything else was grunge rock. Pretty good stuff, very catchy again, some good vocal melodies, some nice riffs, very characteristic vocals, or unusual vocals, I should say, but characteristic for this album. If you come across a cheap copy of this, like I did, and you like traditional metal, and I don't know, if you want to admire some bands that stuck to that style even in the 90s, check this one out. It's pretty good. Some good riffage on it. Now, the Beastie Boys, Root Down, an EP. You have like 3 or 4 versions of the Root Down song, which is a great song. It's a great hip-hop song. And all these, I think the 3 versions of it, all of them are very good. And then you've got some live stuff. You have some of their punky stuff, because they started out being a punk band. So you have some punk songs on here and some live stuff as well. So it's a nice EP, I think, if you like rap and hip hop, but you like more than that. I decided to also listen to Ill Communication, which has, Sabotage is on here. Again, it's a rap album, but I would say Sabotage is a rock song. You got some punk songs on here too, some really aggressive hardcore punk songs. And you have some funky instrumentals. I mean, the Beastie Boys were more than just rap and hip hop. You had like jazzy and funky instrumentals. Like I said, you got rock songs on here. You got punk songs. You got, some more rappy hip hop stuff. But a very, very good, I think, hip hop album. I really enjoy it. And I also decided to listen to the 5 Boroughs while I was at it. Same story, quality rap music. So there you go. And since I already kind of compared Alice Cooper to Bon Jovi, Slippery When Wet, this is where you could stick a lot of these Alice Cooper songs on here and have John Bon Jovi sing it, and nobody would expect them to be Alice Cooper songs. And this really just speaks to the strength of catchiness of the choruses of Bon Jovi's songs as well. So it's actually a kind of a praise of Alice Cooper. I know it sounds like it's not, because a lot of metalheads find Bon Jovi to be a bit wimpy. I think it's, catchy, upbeat, melodic hard rock. Some of the lyrics are stupid, of course. You got some horrible ballads, but overall, enjoyable stuff. So those were the CDs that I listened to in my office at work. Here are just 5 of the vinyl that I managed to listen to this week. Up first, Darkness in a Different Light by Fate's Warning. This is a recent addition to my collection, so I don't think I've shown it yet. It will make an appearance in a haul video at some point. So this is from their more recent era. Their more recent stuff is very dark, it's very melancholic. The riffs are not super complex, but it's still progressive. You still have your odd time signatures and that. And I'll say that Ray Alder's voice fits this very melancholic style extremely well. He has just the perfect voice for that. So this is a great, dark, melancholic, progressive metal album. And it's also nice that Fate's Warning kind of, they took the progressive metal style and moved it on a little bit. I do like pretty much all their albums. And I also listened to Senjutsu. I think this is the first time that I had the time to listen to it in its entirety, because it's a very long album. And most of the songs are very long, and it's been criticized for being very samey. It is true, I think, that most of the songs are kind of at the same tempo, kind of mid-paced. But I don't think it's samey. I actually think there are lots of catchy guitar melodies, lots of catchy vocal lines, lots of songs that are well composed. True, you got the long intros and all that stuff, and long instrumental parts, but I've always liked that about Iron Maiden. That's not a problem to me. I think my favorite is probably Days of Future Past. Great riffage throughout, very catchy. Writing on the Wall, I also like that one. I enjoy it better when I just listen to it than when I watch the music video for some reason. But yeah, I think overall, this is a great album. I really enjoy it. I do get why people get bored with it. But when I sit down and, for once manage to listen to it in its entirety, I think it's a very good album. Very catchy. Melodies every now and then. And I quite like long songs if they're done right. Like right from my perspective. So there you go. Maybe a bit controversial take. This one is going to be even more controversial. Turbo 30th and 30-year anniversary edition, whatever, 30th anniversary edition. Turbo, a song hated by a lot of Judas Priest fans. This happens to be my favorite Judas Priest album, along with Painkiller, and those two albums are very different from one another. This to me is just a fun, uplifting 80s rock, 80s hard rock album. You do have some metal elements every now and then, but it is more hard rocky. And I think what people hate about it is that they look like they're a glam metal band on here, but the music isn't that glammy, it's just hard rock. And another reason why people hate it is because they use synthesizers on here, but it's really, I think, guitar synths they use. So all that weird synthy stuff, a lot of it is still played on guitars, I think. I like all the songs on here, and I like the title track. Well, title track because it's called Turbo Lover. I just like the way it's built up, and it's just the epitome of 80s rock, that song too. So I love this album. So I always enjoy listening to it. So there you go. I don't care. I guess even more controversial. Kin by Zentrix or Eccentrics. This album deviates quite a lot from the style on their two kind of classics, Shattered Existence and For Whose Advantage, which were thrash metal albums. This here is more of a heavy metal album, I think, with a little bit of groove now and then, a little bit of tiny little bit of thrash, not a whole lot, but you got some mid-tempo thrashy stuff. A lot of people dislike this album, and it's quite clear when you listen to it that it's an attempt at, going the Black Album route. And I think this is one reason why I think the Black Album, it was important in putting metal on the map, but it also caused a lot of damage to the thrash metal bands out there, because a lot of the labels now wanted them to make the next Black album, which is a shame. Now this one here, I think it's one of the better attempts at that, because they do kind of take their music in a different direction from the Black album, but it's a heavy metal album, lots of melody on it, and there's actually a very good ballad on it here. Generally I don't like ballads, but there's a very good ballad on this one. Lots of melody, lots of good riffs, I think, lots of just good heavy metal songs. So no, it's not as good as their previous albums and as their comeback albums either, but I think it's better than people make it out to be. I enjoy listening to it every now and then. And up last, World Demise by Obituary. Death metal legends. I don't think this is one of their kind of highlight albums. It's not like a masterpiece. It's not full of memorable classics and all that stuff, but it's still very good. It sounds like Obituary. Lots of cool riffs. I really like the lead guitar work on here. It's very melodic actually, which is kind of in a nice contrast to the kind of murky and muddy, in a positive sense, and primitive death metal stuff that they normally do, right? And you got that on here. Everything, it's Obituary. The lead guitar is just very melodic, and I quite like that. The vocals sound awesome on here as usual. Fantastic cover artwork too. So no, I don't think it's their greatest album, but I do think it's a very, very good album that I do enjoy listening to, and you have lots of just awesome riffs on it. So yeah, that's what's been spinning. These were the songs from the Pukebox. Remember, the puke part is not an evaluation of the music. It's just a stupid reference to a lot of extreme metal bands' fascination with vomit. Thanks for watching.